Hello everyone,
Hello,
welcome to our stream.
welcome. First of all, in this broadcast, we will talk about the new moon in Cancer that will take place on July 6th. Now, in this new moon, there is a T-square with the lunar nodes at 14 degrees of Cancer and a trine aspect to Saturn. You will understand that there is a calmer emphasis, but there are two fixed stars at the new moon degree, the degree where the sun and the moon are. One is Sirius and the other is Canopus. Sirius means something ordinary turning into something very special, a small action with big results. Canopus means finding a new way and method. When we look at it in the light of these, it makes a T-square with the lunar nodes already in the sky. Saturn in Pisces makes a trine aspect. In other words, it shows conditions and situations that we cannot direct and we do not know what to do, and because of these situations, all our plans are disrupted. We cannot move forward. We constantly encounter situations where we do not know what to do. So we've been telling it in our broadcasts. All plans are broken. The cards are being reshuffled. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Right now the fate, a great will, has stepped in and destroyed all the plans. Now, in this uncertainty and confusion, just by evaluating the moment, by looking at the current conditions, by ignoring all future plans, all the past and the future, nothing happens because we need to evaluate the situation just by looking at the present moment. And when we look at it like this, even if we find and think something very simple, our minds that are stuck by going back and forth between the past and the future will relax, and it seems that even a small, simple step or thing can have big consequences and change everything. So the energy of this new moon is such interesting and beautiful. As long as we look at everything without prejudice and take the risk to evaluate everything from scratch, then we will really find brand new solutions and we will be able to inspire others with these solutions. It shows something like everyone will be able to follow, to love, or we will be able to love and follow the ideas that someone else has come up with, because there is a sky that shows that we all feel empty, that we can't make plans, see ahead, we can't implement the existing plans, and the way to find this idea is to abstract from everything, a little bit from the whole world, from the events around us. We need to sink into our completely subjective reality. What is good for me right now? What do I need? What would be good? What do I want to do right now? We need to look and evaluate from our own reality, our own perspective. Maybe it means bringing forward plans that we have postponed for many years. Maybe it means eliminating all the unnecessary things that we put in a row because of the truth in our minds and focusing directly on what will make us happy. In other words, this is a new moon that shows when we become a little subjective. When we return to our own world, we can understand what is important and take the right steps. The duration of the effect is not very long. If we find this bright idea or this perspective that can be very valuable, we will be able to find it between June 24 and July 16. That's the duration. Of course, others can find it and we can follow them. If there are people around us who we think have done the right thing, have done well, we can follow them too. So we can comfort ourselves with the things they create with awareness. When we look at Aries ascendants, first, the new moon is in their 4th house. Of course, this means reconsidering all decisions about family and life. And it says to Aries ascendants, don't try to do the best for everyone or save them. Focus a little bit on the present moment. That's what it will say to everyone anyway. And it says try to shape your whole life according to this moment and take care of yourself completely because the North Node is also in your 1st house. Focus on your own reality, your own needs, truths, and leave all the things that need to be done, your plans, everything behind, and try to do the right thing today. And the right thing is whatever problem, whatever responsibility you have to deal with that day, and Saturn is in your 12th house. In other words, unexpected problems, troubles, surprises can arise, but these are actually trying to take you to a very auspicious point, and in order to get there, it is trying to remove the past and future burdens that you need to get rid of. And normally when you ask everyone or consult your family, it says do things that may be opposed, that may attract reactions, without asking. Take action, And when this happens, when you do things that may cause problems, when you ask their opinions by taking direct action without asking their opinions, you will be doing the best for everyone. And no one will say, "Why did you do it?" And everyone will actually follow what you do and try to do it themselves. It's going to be a very interesting situation because normally whatever you try to do, it's like you are being manipulated and you are constantly being directed to do something else. You will observe that this breaks and disappears. When we look at Taurus ascendants, first of all, they are having a hard time making life decisions because there is a new moon in your third house, and they may feel that their plans are not going as they want or they are going slowly, not progressing, blocked. In other words, they make plans, but they don't come into action and practice. It takes too long. There are problems. Of course, it is not necessary to give up on what is desired, but it is necessary to reevaluate according to the current situation. Why were these plans made? Are they still valid now? In fact, it is necessary to leave the past and look at whether these plans are valid now, and are they meaningful, right or good for me right now? Taurus Risings need to make decisions by looking at this first. Maybe you are going through such things that you may need to give up something completely. You may be giving up, it may also show these. You may also feel that you cannot move forward at all due to the circumstances. But if it is about what you really want, there is no need to give up. But if you are following the plans made long ago, if you are not re-evaluating according to the current conditions, then re-evaluate your situation, your wishes, what you need to do. And when you re-evaluate, you can find formulas that you can progress very quickly with really simple solutions, and you can set an example for others with these formulas according to sky. In fact, it says to follow the things that come from within yourself, and when you look at this moment, the sky may already be exhausting right now because the North Node is in Aries in 12th house and Taurus Risings may be very tired. They may be running around a lot. If they are asking for courage, take action. They are still in their lucky period, but in such fatigue, it becomes very important for them to let go of meaningless things or things that are done because they have to be done. That's why it says, look at this moment. What needs to be done right now? What are the problems and responsibilities that come up? What is urgent? It says make decisions according to them. When you decide or evaluate accordingly, it means that you will find simple solutions, think practically and get things done very easily. And the things you do will have much more impact than you expect and can take you to your dreams much faster. It really means that stay fixed on what you know is right. Don't give up on what you really want, but throw away everything unnecessary. You are moving forward more freely like this, and you are finding spot on solutions and practical formulas, and this inspires everyone. You are setting an example and paving the way for others. When we look at Gemini ascendants, the new moon takes place in your second house, and this shows that it is a time when Gemini risings need to show all their talents, especially in terms of work, and they should act immediately without even waiting for something to be demanded from them. Take initiative. If necessary, try to show everyone what they can do quickly. Prove it, because it will enable them to be promoted where they work, to get a serious raise, to stand out from the crowd in an instant, to leave all their competitors behind. This is a very bright new moon for them. They are one of the most benefited ascendants regarding this new moon. It seriously carries the energy to stand out from the crowd. It says that it's the right time to show all their talents, whatever they are equipped with, and as I said, they can get a big promotion or a raise or both. If they are doing their own business, they should likewise leave the stereotypical truths. They should leave the tried and tested methods of the business. There may already be a lot of setbacks and problems in what they are trying to do. Now they should strive for what they want to do in the way they want, what they find meaning in, and then they can really pave the way, and things can happen one after the other quickly. It is already so since Jupiter is in your sign, Gemini Risings. Your chart has accelerated to the speed of light, and it seems that there can be fast developments. They say to be completely in the moment, and when they do in everything by focusing on that moment with their own abilities, and make choices in the direction that really feels beautiful and meaningful to them, and apply them especially in business, they will change direction towards success quickly. or even if it is going in the opposite direction in some way, which is why we said anything can happen at any moment. Everything can change, even in the form of a peak in one moment, a bottom in another, like that. It can be very tiring. Saturn in Pisces in the 10th house is very tiring already. But now is a new moon period where even if Gemini risings are going towards the bottom, they will suddenly take flight again towards the top. If they give a chance to the new, whether it is in line with their own ideas or in the form of learning and adding something new. If they try something new, and this thing is meaningful, enjoyable, or easy for them, it will give very good results. When we look at Cancer ascendants, of course there is a new moon in their sign, and I am sure they are all very curious and excited right now. In fact, this is a new moon that will surprise the Cancer risings because it is an interesting new moon that says that whatever you decide and do in life right now, you will be supported, and no one will ever oppose you. So whatever you do, you will get support, and it's as if you think that whatever you try to do, you will be stopped. You think that whatever you try to do, you will be blocked, but when you don't ask for opinions and take action, you will be applauded and appreciated, and nobody will say anything. No one will be able to say why and what did you do. Of course, this decision can be about anything, if we say very basic, of course. It can be a decision to get married, to start a relationship, to divorce, to end a relationship, to establish or end a partnership, to start or to close a business, or to change city or country. So whether you make a very important decision or a very simple decision, it shows that whatever you decide, this decision will be supported. This is such an interesting new moon. It says that as long as you do something, everyone will love it and will be happy because actually when you ask or look, everyone is manipulating because you are useful to everyone. But when you do something clearly and take action, no one will be able to tell you, why did you do it? Because no one wants to lose or anger you. They may be passive-aggressive or manipulative to try to stop you, but once you take action, they don't do anything. Maybe you will face this. It's such an interesting situation. And of course the main thing you will face is whether all this time you had no obstacles and you thought you were bound by those manipulations. You thought you were being stopped. You couldn't move forward and you had no choice. You will face these things. In this sense, it can be a bit challenging. You are completely free in this new moon, and especially in this period. Every Cancer rising or anyone with a planet in Cancer should do something. They should do something according to their own truths, own plans, own will, and that thing will be accepted no matter what, and you need to be brave, because it is a point that can make anything accepted. When we look at Leo ascendants, first of all, the new moon takes place in their 12th house, and our followers have learned that if it takes place in the 12th house, something out of control is happening. Saturn is already in Pisces in your 8th house, which destroys control. This year, Leo ascendants are out of control. In other words, all conditions are out of control, and they have seriously entered a period where control is completely lost. All uncontrolled, crazy things are happening, and of course Leo ascendants are in a sharp period of life. They have come to a sharp bend. It's like they are being thrown from one point to another. So first of all, they have to forget about the past and the future. They have to be in the moment. No matter what the circumstances are, it will force Leo risings to come to the forefront in some way, to be visible, to do something for themselves and others, to struggle, and it forces them in such a way that you fight for your own well-being, reputation, peace, and comfort. Something is happening, in other words. There are developments that force you to show your strength, and you will inspire and guide many people while doing so. At the same time, you will act in an unexpected way, especially in a matter such as loan, debt, or inheritance. Or maybe you will try a different way of dealing with something such as tax procedures, which will inspire everyone. You will open a path for everyone. You will do something. You will show a reaction, and this reaction seems to be turning into something that will set an example for everyone. As I said, the sky is pushing you to come to the forefront, to be a pioneer in something both for yourself and for others, to solve something. This is what is happening. When we look at Virgo ascendants, first of all, there is a new moon in their 11th house. Saturn is also in a trine aspect from the 7th house. This shows that you may receive some suggestions, some advice from friends and people you care about. and these suggestions will actually make everything easier. They will make you realize that you think you are too attached to some things, that you are overthinking things. So people will inspire you. People will inspire you to think simpler, to find practical solutions so that you realize that there is actually not that much of a problem in your life, that you are overthinking things, that you are actually very free. You are valued. You have the power to do whatever you want. In other words, your friends will tell you don't worry too much. They will try to tell you don't worry. It's good to do this, live like this and so on. And at the same time, your friends and associates will be interested in something that they follow. They can inspire you, you can follow them, and it always shows that when Saturn is in the 7th house, there needs to be an important person in your life that you care about. There needs to be a person that promises potential but seems very mediocre at times. You need to give this character a chance, because with your guidance they can turn into right, wonderful person. And now this new moon says, without thinking too deeply, simply guide that person, direct and tell them you want this, you like this, do this or do that. You can make a big difference in the lives of your loved ones, especially in the life of this person regarding your 7th house, by offering simple and beautiful suggestions, as people will give you good advices. Of course, at the same time, when you approach that person in this way, you can get great feedback from them that you never expected. You can get positive feedback. Maybe you have already done a lot, and you are about to get very big positive feedback. In other words, this 7th house person may achieve a great success, or they may come in the form of a relationship and propose marriage. Or maybe the joint thing you are doing has reached a stage and you may start a business together. So if you move forward without getting too stuck right now, you are about to take a very beautiful, solid step towards the future. When we look at Libra ascendants, the new moon seems to take place in their 10th house. First of all, of course, there is a situation related to career or being in the public eye, and Libra risings may be experiencing work or health-related problems. But especially in work problems, they should not think and plan too much, and they should just try to do their part in a simple way, because the South Node is in Libra. Interfering too much, trying to give direction, trying to give shape creates problems. They should just focus on simplifying everything. When they focus on simplifying, when they focus on solving every problem quickly, they will actually shine. They will act and behave in a much more correct way. But if they try to express their own values, to implement their own plans, or try to control the situation too much, then there will be a risk that people will create other solutions and disable them. That's why Libra ascendants should adapt to the situation and accept the conditions. In other words, you are at some predetermined points. These may not be the points you want, you may not be happy, but if you do your best at this point, and try to handle everything quickly and practically without thinking too much, no matter where you are, then you will create very good results, both for yourself and for others. But if you cannot do this, then you are somehow disengaged. You are left behind. People go their own way. They find other solutions, especially managers, bosses, and then unfortunately, Libra risings experience an emphasis on being alone. In terms of health, it shows that there is an issue that they need to take seriously. Whatever it is, it shows that they should focus on diet, sports, healthy life, etc. Otherwise, they seem to be right on the limit of some health problem. I mean, there is an emphasis as if something is about to get serious, so this may not be something very dangerous, but it may be a chronic disease. It's like turning from insulin resistance to diabetes. It shows something like approaching the limit. Therefore, if there is a problem, a disease, they should stop saying that nothing will happen and make a decision by thinking in a simple way, such as it would be good if I cut down on dessert a little bit, or it would be good if I quit smoking. When they do this, perhaps there will be people from their families and loved ones who will follow their example and do this, and they will be a good example for both themselves and their loved ones. When we look at Scorpio ascendants, there is a new moon in their 9th house, trine aspect of Saturn in the 5th house and T-square with lunar nodes. Now we always tell deep things in Scorpio ascendant because it is very connected to the main story. Scorpio is like an actor of the theme of all energies hitting the bottom and recreating them. Of course, there is a Pluto in Capricorn in terms of system and order, but I tell it through Scorpio because there are deep plans there, because Scorpio solves the big plan the most, the one who understands and shapes it. So there are always extraordinary interpretations. Now here, first of all, there's a new moon in the house of outlook on life, value judgments, and the Scorpio ascendant is now in a period when they are trying to understand and solve. Scorpio ascendant is now in a period where they are trying to understand and figure it out. They tried and bluffed. They tried to learn what is happening in the environment and how does the environment react to it. They checked them out. Now they will experience things that they realize that everything has changed with surprising developments and that something is happening in a way they did not foresee or expect. And then when this new moon comes, more precisely, its effect actually starts on the June 24th. They see that their plans are destroyed and they cannot make correct predictions. They start to think and evaluate again, and this time they will make another trial. This new moon actually tells about it. Scorpio ascendant is making another attempt. What is it about? It could be about the people in his life, about work, about what is possible and what is not possible, about how to influence people and how not to influence people, how to give direction to the environment. And this trial seems to be a trial that will make an incredible noise, and of course it will enable Scorpio ascendant to understand many things more clearly and analyze them. There is also fate, and perhaps unexpected conditions. For some Scorpio risings, it may be a new moon in which they may unexpectedly see favors from someone and realize that someone is worried about them. In any case, there are emphases such as understanding people around, evaluating them better, figuring out who is friend or foe, and accordingly changing all their plans and goals even more and reshaping them from the beginning. Of course, depending on their natal chart, it may be a little bit of a reorganization or a complete reshaping. So someone will surprise Scorpio risings a lot. This may be a spontaneous news, or it may be the result of a trial. And as a result of this, they may take some decisions quickly, decide to start a relationship, to return it into marriage or plan a partnership, or decide to end it. They may plan many moves, but they are getting something sharp, an important awareness, something important. That's why they are making important decisions, and it looks like they are going to implement them quickly. Now, when we look at Sagittarius ascendants, first of all, this new moon takes place in their 8th house. It makes a T-square with the lunar nodes and makes a trine aspect with Saturn from the 4th house. This clearly tells you it's time to go crazy. It wants you to be crazy, to do something extraordinary. The sky is not saying that you have to do it. Don't misunderstand. But if you feel the need to rebel, if you feel the need to raise your voice, to walk away in some way, do it without thinking. Either listen to that feeling. But if you don't feel anything, or if you feel that you can't disturb your peace right now, it's not a problem at all. I mean, the sky is not saying that you have to do it here. It says it would be very beautiful if you do it. What would be beautiful? For example, somehow you slammed the door at work. You got angry. Either they have to raise your salary and call you back because they can't give up on you, or you're very bored, and you've made a crazy investment, or you've invested in the stock market. It can earn a lot unexpectedly, so you can multiply it. So this period rewards craziness because it always rewards craziness of Sagittarius. But this new moon is a new moon in which you can experience something very beautiful. You can do something a little ridiculous or risky and experience something beautiful. You will really gamble with your luck. But as I said, you don't have to. If you feel it in your heart, do it, or you may have a very strong sensation. But beyond that sensation, I will still say listen to your inner voice. So the event depends on you. If you are very excited about something, if you want to take a risk, know that the result will be very good. This can be related to a completely different issue. Somehow, you take a step towards the person you like, and it can work out very well. Or you say you're going to find a partner, you go out, you socialize, you find love. So you create a miracle for yourself by doing something crazy. It's interesting. It's like you get a bountiful check from the sky. So it says, do something and it will be good. In other words, there is a situation that if you take a step in any subject, but that step must be unusual, you will experience something good in that subject. It's as if it wants you to experience your luck in this way. Of course, Jupiter is controlling it when it is in Gemini, but it is still in your 7th house, in an angular house. So, even if Jupiter is detriment in Gemini, it doesn't work directly bad for you because it will work in the form of people noticing it. You will catch it from there somehow. You can try to test the power of your luck at the rate of your own risk perception. This is such a new moon for you, so it's a new moon to test your luck, to look at how lucky you are. When we look at Capricorn ascendants, the new moon will take place on their 7th house, and you will receive some advice, some suggestions, some offers from your spouse, partner, or people you care about. You should accept them without thinking, because they are really trying to help you. They are trying to support you. They are trying to show you the way. And if you listen to them, problems in your life will be solved. Things will get better, or you will avoid making wrong decisions, because the sky is always telling Capricorn risings to change your perspective, and there are people who will show you what you are doing wrong or what is easier, what is good and right for you to do in the conditions you are in right now. There are people who simply give you suggestions. There are people who love you, because there is Cancer in your 7th house. It is useful to listen to these people, and in this period you are not supposed to do anything for just reputation, but there are people who love you and speak for your good, and what they say can help you overcome very key points where you feel stuck, and you can breathe a sigh of relief, and of course, a relationship that you take a chance here can turn into something very serious, or a partnership, or you choose to support someone, and then it can evolve into something very important. It can work out very well in a very unexpected way. So, whatever suggestions you receive from people, you should accept them. In other words, if someone is trying to introduce you to someone, if they are mediating, if they are playing matchmaker, you should also listen to them. In this period, you should listen to whatever comes from whomever. You will say, South Node is in Libra for everyone. Why doesn't it work for us? It works for you too. But don't care what society says or thinks. People who love you or care about you are actually trying to guide you. They are trying to help you make the right decisions. When we look at Aquarius ascendants, there is a new moon in the 6th house, a trine aspect with Saturn from the 2nd house and T-square with lunar nodes. First of all, if you are having difficulties in moving forward with work, or you are having difficulties in finding a job, or you are having some problems where you work, or you feel that you are not earning as much as you deserve, you cannot increase your income no matter what you do. Practical ideas and thoughts that will solve all these things come to you about work, and especially if you feel stuck. In other words, money may be decreasing. You may not be earning enough. There seems to be a money-related problem, and it directs you to think and act a little differently, to approach things differently, and this new approach will actually enable you to find very bright ideas and solutions. And these different ideas and solutions will open up a great earning potential, especially if you are doing your own work or somehow making a difference in the place where you work, getting noticed, maybe getting promoted and appointed to an important project. In other words, by doing something different, you will be able to pave your way in business or increase your income a lot. Likewise, in health issues, if you are experiencing some health problems, you should approach these issues differently. In other words, you should make decisions according to your own body, and you should act accordingly. In such a situation, you can achieve much faster results, or you can get good advice from someone who has experienced this problem and get rid of it quickly. Of course, in terms of finding a job, if you're trying to find one, there's an emphasis that you can look for a lot of jobs, or you can attract attention by writing something new on your CV. So it shows that you can find a job by changing your approach a little bit. When we look at Pisces ascendants, the new moon takes place in their 5th house and makes a trine aspect to Saturn in the 1st house and T-square with the lunar nodes. Of course, Saturn in the 1st house makes this new moon very important for Pisces. First, we always say focus on yourself, your own happiness. To Pisces Risings in the main theme, and it shows that if they focus on their own happiness, look at things for their own sake, something very beautiful will happen. In other words, if the miracle energy, which is often triggered in Pisces these days, can be evaluated. A miracle is happening, and a very beautiful relationship can come to life, for example, in a surprising way. If they are married, there may be a pregnancy, and this will be a birth of a child with a bright future. There is such a beautiful situation. If they already have children, their children may have a great success and excitement, and this can be a great inspiration for Pisces risings. It can give a great enthusiasm for life, excitement, and dreams. At the same time, Pisces risings can decide to develop their talents related to something they enjoy, to get an education, to develop themselves in something. And it seems that this will be something incredibly right, and it could turn into something that will change every aspect of their whole business and career life. They could just take a simple step of doing something they enjoy, a simple step of taking an interest in research, and then suddenly find themselves building their new and happy career. Someone they will give a chance can also turn into the love of their life during this period. So it can also start a very beautiful relationship. That's why we say that there can be a miracle in anything. And if they are working, they can do something creative, extraordinary, and draw all the attention to themselves. And it can also mean something like being appointed to an important post or getting a promotion and a raise. So it's a new moon that works like a miracle for Pisces risings as well. This is a bit like that for Sagittarius and Pisces. It says to Pisces something very good is coming to you. Accept it. But if there is something you want for yourself, it will come. So either something you want for yourself comes true, you wish for it, and it comes true, or something that will make you very happy comes your way and it says just accept it. In the beginning, it may be just nice, but something very valuable is coming to you. Make the most of it. For example, it could be an idea for self-improvement. It could be the arrival of love or the arrival of a child.
And that's it for this week. Do you want to add anything extra for the new moon?
I think I've said everything. I mean, it's a very unusual new moon. As I said, with the influence of fixed stars, Sirius and Canopus, there will be very inspiring, simple ideas and suggestions, either from within ourselves or from someone else, and we should make use of them whether they come from within or from outside. That was the main idea this week, and don't forget the dates I told you in the beginning part of the video. Make use of it in those dates.
See you next week.
See you and have a good week.